Hello and welcome to Sharp Talk, the show by washed-up athletes for washed-up athletes looking to be their best self. On today's show, Jaden and I are joined by a former teammate and friend, Noah Van't Hof. We discuss his athletic career, his comeback from a catastrophic accident, and how his faith has been paramount in his journey and still is to this day. Hopefully from listening to today's show, you can realize the power that your environment has, how struggles can be used to grow in your faith, and how much of a blessing movement truly is. So thanks for tuning in, and hopefully you enjoy. Before we get rolling with today's episode, I want to take a second to tell you about Sharp Training. Snyder Health Recovery and Performance Training is an online training platform to help washed-up athletes look, feel, and move better. We offer several different group options catered to your needs, interests, and goals, with new programs delivered each month through the Team Builder app. Features include video demonstrations, 24/7 messaging and feedback, and access to the Sharp Edge, a comprehensive guide to upgrade your diet, sleep, and life. Use the code PODCAST in all caps to get 50% off your first month when checking out a program. Iron sharpens iron, so let us help you become your sharpest self. Now let's go. And we're back with another edition of Sharp Talk. Jade and I are joined by a former high school, college teammate, a Sharp Training client, and above all, a friend and brother, Noah Van't Hof. Welcome to the show. How you doing, brother?
Good. Glad to be here. Glad to just be graced with your fellows' presence to just get to talk to you guys about everything that's going to go down, I guess. We'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, you've had quite the eventful life, but all three of us have had quite the experience together, both inside and outside of athletics in the weight room. So hopefully we can explore that a little bit. But you want to just lead off with a little intro about yourself, where you're from, athletic background, high school, college, whatever, man. Tell the world about yourself.
Yes. I'll start with what I'm currently doing, and we'll bring it back.
Sure.
Like a movie, you get to go to the end.
The other guys style.
You go back to the beginning. So right now I'm working full-time with Fellowship of Christian Athletes at ministry. Finding my way back to Northwest Iowa, but Northwest Iowa, where I grew up with two brothers and a sister. I took a lot of thought. Went to West Lyon, love sports. I mean, ever since I was a kid, my mom hated days home because I would just be like, Mom, let's go do this. Let's go do this. And she'd be like, gosh, I want to take a nap. And she'd be like, 3 minutes. And I sit, watch the clock go around 3 times. Like, all right, next activity. And so my whole life was just sports, and anything that had any sort of competition was just for me. So, and being the youngest sibling, it just gives you an advantage in everything you do, I think, because you just get to be around those sports. So coming in, I was a pretty aggressive kid. I was lucky enough to have my older siblings teach me how to play a lot of the sports. So yeah, coming in and like playing soccer when you're 6 years old, or start wrestling when you're 6 years old, you just know what you're doing. It's not really fair to the other kids, but everybody catches up, and it was good. My love for sports just continued to grow. The more competitive it got, the harder it got, the more I fell in love with it. And pretty much when I started playing sports was when I met Jaden. I think we were probably 5 years old. You were probably 4 at the time, because we started TK 5 and 4. That's where we first met. And I think like the first day, I'm not gonna kid you, I was like this kid's my friend. We've probably been the same ever since, but growing up, I've been thinking about this a lot. Just growing up playing sports with Jaden, I've said it so much that I'm such a competitive person that it would have been a nightmare if I had a twin brother. If I had a twin brother who just had a slight edge on me in so many things, and the more I thought about that, the more I thought, I was like, dude, that's what Jaden was. And so just from a young age, it was just like we were constantly competing, constantly playing sports together. I mean, there wasn't a sport that we really did separately. I mean, maybe golf was the only thing that you really did that I didn't do, and then later on wrestling. But so we were always together, always pushing each other, always challenging each other, and that helped me tremendously grow as an athlete and as a competitor. Just being around you, Jaden, and then also your guys' dad was huge. He coached all of our youth sports, and he always treated me just like a son. I'm not saying about that today. He always pushed me and just like gave me the opportunities to be successful, and always knew how to put me in positions to be successful, and was pretty much the reason that I became a basketball player in a kind of a wrestling family, just because he spent so much time developing me as a player, teaching me the ins and outs of the games. But yeah, that was really cool. So fast forward, start to know everybody. Kind of my first encounter, you, Colin, came my freshman year. I was struggling with a hamstring problem as I was growing. I mean, we were friends. We knew each other pretty well before then. They were friends, but not super close. Had that hamstring problem, and working out with everybody else just wasn't it. Just wasn't getting better. And I think I was just growing my body. Like my muscles just couldn't keep up with me. And it was just like totally cutting into my athletic ability. It was really frustrating year. And I remember starting to work out with you that year. I remember you just like listening. If I said, hey, this is bothering me, you were willing to take that and say like, hey, let's try something out. Where everybody else was kind of just like, no, you just got to do this. Like, this is the workout. This is how we're doing it. And you were really that first person to be like, yeah, okay, let's try something else or do something else. And that spoke to me just because, you're a freshman. You don't really know what you're doing in the weight room. You just have somebody who's like, oh, yeah, like, here, we'll change it. Ended up getting kind of over that. But jokingly, I would say I'm patient zero of sharp training. Just from starting to work out with you guys from a young age, because you were already working out together, you two were. And then as we progressed, starting to develop as an athlete, had a really good sophomore and junior year. And then coming around the corner to my senior year, ready to finish my last lap strong. God just had different plans, beautiful plans for me. Where it really starts is NDSU. What was my dream school? I was like, yeah, I'm going there. I'm playing football there. My oldest brother wanted to go there. He ended up going to Northwestern, and I was like, I think I can get there. So I went to this camp, and yeah, I didn't get what I wanted, and it heartbreaking. And I was like, so heartbreaking. It just like it stole my joy, and I had realized slowly that like everything and who I was, my identity was completely based on my performance as an athlete. And then listening to Brandon, shout out Brandon, not here right now,
Loser.
He just said the word, and I know he struggled with this, but he said, if I didn't have my identity in Christ, the ACL would have like wrecked. And I was sitting there, and it's like, words have never pierced me so hard, because I was sitting there, I was like, if I would have had an ACL injury.
I don't know if that was at the youth group when he spoke, but he said something along the lines of like, if I never played a down of football again, like I'd be okay with that. And I just remember you saying that kind of spoke to you, kind of along those lines.
Oh, for sure, yeah. No, it did. It was, I think it was at your guys' church, Bethel Church.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember that? It was like the end of June, roughly. Because that camp, NDSU camp, was June 23rd, I believe. And then it was coming right off that. And then Wednesday, 4th of July, it was a Wednesday that year, in the weight room with the fellas, getting the pump on for the whole day. And I had just been wrecked for a few weeks, maybe a week and a half. And you remember the sequence of events, Colin, that came, like why you were there? Because you weren't supposed to be there that morning.
Yeah, I was planning on going to Okoboji, and for whatever reason that didn't work out. And so, yeah, I was in the weight room that morning. I can't remember who was all in there. I don't think it was a very big group, but yeah, holiday, just a few guys getting after it.
Yeah, just a good time. And
Yeah.
it just started to get heavier and heavier on my heart that something was wrong in my life. It was empty. I wasn't where I needed to be. I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I knew how I was called to live, and I just wasn't doing it. So, I mean, I really believe that's when I gave my life to Christ. Because I was like, I needed to change my life. And I had not done a good job. Considering I've fallen short so much. But I really believe that's what it was. And like that moment happened, like I'm not crying. Remember it, Colin? Like,
So was I.
dude, like tears.
In the weight room.
On-
Just two dudes crying.
Just two
and
dudes
hugging.
crying. What a fight. There's no
Yeah.
better fight. And the rest of that day, I was like, holy cow, my life has changed. Like I am set free. I had joy that whole day, and it was like so weird. Everything was just like lining up exactly how it needed to go. And I was in my car probably like 9:30, 10:30 at night just to go back to my house, and I dated this girl at the time. And I turned to her and I said, if I never played down a football game in my life, I'll be okay because I got the Lori. And then we decided to make fireworks. Wasn't a good idea. We didn't really know how bad of an idea it was. First one goes off, boom. Second one goes off. Kind of a premature explosion blows up the pipes and shrapnel flying everywhere. And just
a bottle rocket bomb, basically. Is that a good way
sparkler
to describe
bomb is how I'd say it.
Sparkler bomb.
Yeah, sparkler bomb. And it was just like mass chaos. And I don't know, Jaden, you were there, right?
I was there. I was not out there, but I was like by the pool watching.
What was it like? Because I don't like this is raw for me because everyone always asks me like what happened, but not very often have I just gotten to be like, hey, what was it like? Because I know like for me it's like, oh, boom, explosion, and my knee hurts, my ears are ringing, I feel my knee, and I feel like the inside of my knee, and I'm laying down on my back. But like, I'd love to hear from your point of view, like, what was that like?
Yeah. So yeah, you said it was late. It was pretty dark. We couldn't really see a ton from where we were at the pool. There's probably 5 guys out there with you or so.
Probably something like that. Yeah.
And yeah, I saw the first one go off. I think the first one you guys did like horizontal. So it just shot horizontal. We were like, cool. And yeah, you were going to do the second one. I don't know if you guys added some for the second one, didn't you?
We
From
the pipe had shown bang.
Yeah, there was maybe a crack in the pipe, but we were all really far. There's probably, I don't know, maybe 10 of us watching from the pool. And yeah, we're just watching. You're all really close to the pipe. And yeah, obviously it exploded way faster than we thought it was. And a lot of smoke, a lot of silence for probably what felt like 5 to 10 seconds, but it was probably closer to 1 or 2 seconds. And the first thing I think I heard was you screaming for help. And it just like hearing that initial cry out, I just felt like my heart just dropped, and I was almost in shock. Like I didn't know what to do, what the best step was. Like we've never been in a scenario where we've done something like that, and we all just kind of like looked at each other like, what are we gonna do? And your parents came running out onto your patio upstairs, and they were like asking what happened. I know Mia had gone out to look and saw, I guess, what you were in at that time, and the other guys came running back as well. But yeah, it was just a lot of chaos, a lot of not knowing what to do. I personally didn't go up and look. I didn't know what had happened or the extent. I was more so concerned with the people around me, seeing how they were. Because obviously, yeah, like I said, I was in shock, and I knew nothing I could do for you was going to impact like your healing at that time. Obviously, your parents were there. They had called the hospital. You got airlifted to Rock Rapids. They'd parked the helicopter in your yard. Then yeah, it was all what seemed like so long that you were there on the ground. I don't know how long it ended up being, but it was it was definitely chaos and once in a lifetime thing. Like it seems like I could picture it just yesterday, like
Mm.
what I was looking at and what happened, the details, especially that the first 5 minutes. It just seems like it was so vivid in my memory. But yeah, you can probably take it from there. I'm not sure if you remember or how much you remember from it happening onto the airlift coming or to you going to Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
You can probably speak on that.
Uh, no, and then getting airlifted, that all surreal moments. Quick, like crazy, like timing for all this is that I found the medical records just recently, and I like have the pictures, like in camera, like not X-rays, like pictures of the injuries, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like like there was EMTs there, like bless their heart, but they're like they know them, these are like youth group leaders, these are like secondary mothers to the that, and they're like kind of calm now, like an all see that big walk game, but just going back to what I was talking about too, just about having that day just have so much peace when it happened. Oh crap! Like there was pain, screaming my knee, screamed something, and I laid on my back, and then pain didn't go away, but I knew, like in the deepest level, who I was, that like God had a plan. And it wasn't because like I'm a like faithful person. So no, it was because like it was so like there was so much just peace. Heart. I had almost no panics, in a situation where I was like honestly wondering, yeah, I think I'm gonna live, but will I ever be able to walk? Will I ever be? And this is like coming from a kid who's like work is everything. So it's just crazy, just the mercy that I was shown in that moment. And yeah, I get airlifted to the hospital, pretty much up all night running tests. I looked through the amount of tests they ran me. It's insane. I mean, I had more medical background to speak into it, but I can't. Yeah, and then the hospital stay, which was like, you ever seen a movie where everything's like white and it's like euphoric and they're like insane? Person's insane. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was like trapped in a really bad dream, like a illusion because of the amount of painkillers I was on and all that. But the community sport was phenomenal. But one of the hardest things I ever had to do was try and learn. Like I couldn't walk for a month and a half after, but that week in the hospital, I had to get a walker and then get on my feet just to be able to hold myself. My right leg, I'll quick talk about the injuries. The shrapnel from the blast had blown through my right and left legs, my right knee, my left, kind of a little above the ankle. Right knee, I had shaved off pieces of the femur head, pieces of the kneecap, blown out the cartilage, torn the patella tendon, and then something about the knee capsule as well. Not 100% sure. And I knew there was, in the doctor's reports, there was bone fragment in the knee. And then the left ankle was pretty much just punched straight through the front, shattered tibia, almost a torn Achilles. Luckily, that stayed intact. And so they were able to close surgically close and repair the right knee. The left ankle had to be left open, so there had to be a wound back on. I just remember waking up, I'm like, dude, there's tubes everywhere, and I have no idea what's going on. No idea what the doctor's going to tell me. All these things, but then I had the hospital stay learning how to like get back on my feet because I could put my weight on my right leg where I had the knee injury, but the left ankle where they had to put the rod and the screws in and had the wound back, that could not be a load bearing thing. So I literally had to like balance on my right leg, and that was one of the hardest things. So you do a push up and like walk, what have you. But yeah, like during this time, it's just like you're so focused on the thing, but like I don't know, what was it like, Jaden, to like, we're in the middle of the baseball season. We're playing really well. Like we're at the top of our lives coming up on a football season. Like, I don't know what it was like outside of the hospital. So like, if you could speak into that, that's going to be enlightening for me as well.
Yeah, I think obviously we were all there for you, and we went and saw you in the hospital and everything, and saw the support that you got from the community, and it was all it was it was comforting to know that there were so many people that were there to care. And as a baseball team, obviously we were getting close to crunch time. I think it was end of the year. You were probably our ace. I left you off the mound, dog, like you said, a competitor. He'll compete with the best of them. And yeah, we lose our ace. We lose someone that's going to be a leader for us, someone that's going to pick us up when we're down, and that's tough to overcome. But obviously, when trauma like that happens, it unites communities, it unites a team, and it just added that motivation that we're not playing for ourselves. Like, we're playing for something bigger. We're playing for the team, those that can be there and those that can't. And I think there was, I wouldn't call it extrinsic motivation, but just a desire to fulfill our goals, whether we had our ace on the mound or whether we were playing for our ace on the mound.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was just a sense of community and team that wasn't necessarily as strong before the event, and I think it carried us far in the playoffs. Obviously, we ended up losing in, I think, was it a district final game? But yeah, yeah, Esterville. But yeah, I think it was really cool because you got the chance to come to one of the games, and I think that was really powerful when we got to see you. I think you were in a wheelchair at the time, but just to have your support and to be able to come around you and give you support in that time of need, I think it was really cool to unite and just power around you. I think it was really cool.
Yeah, that was crazy time. So you come out of the hospital. I had been fighting like depression, PTSD like crazy. None of that really set in the hospital. It's super euphoric, or I don't know, euphoric's the right word.
I know what you're saying.
It's not real. And then coming
Yeah.
like real PTSD, depression. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm like miserable. I don't know who I am. Though God been giving me so much grace in the moment. I had to learn to rely on him. Still learning today, but I was so weak.
Yeah.
And oh man, I was so broken. I didn't know who I was on these medications. And when I started going to those baseball games, I think I made 2. Both of them in Esterville. First game you guys played Okoboji. Good game, good Okoboji team. You beat them. But then we were on the first base line, and I got hit by a baseball. Wild. In a wheelchair. But I remember having to go to the bathroom in a walker. Like, my teammates are watching me go down a sidewalk on a walker, like pushing myself up and down and up and down and taking steps, like one step every 3 seconds, just so I can go to the bathroom. It was like, wow, just a crazy time. And then, yeah, the next game, just tear rolling because Isaac Hire, I kind of our lone senior baseball, like, last game, and I was like, I had to sit and watch in a game that easily could have gone either way. But so I'm gonna like fast forward, I'm gonna book through the next kind of part of this so we can keep rolling. But yeah, college world, kind of after that happened, I had some interest in some D2s and communications with NDSU still, and it's like, dude, no. Like, after that happened, every single person was like, yeah, you're gone. So going into the football season, I was still really hopeful of making a comeback. Different events had happened in my life. The Lord had spoken to me through different people and pretty much put a date on my mind. And the doctors were like, this is impossible. We're talking 3.5 months, less than 3.5 months from a torn patella, which is usually at 8 at the minimum, and we had a lot of complications with everything else going into the big old question mark. And the Lord has totally made it happen. And I was so ready to come back and be a killer, and it didn't happen. I came back. I sucked, and I played basketball that senior year, and I sucked. And I ran track that year, and I jumped for hurdles. I was not bad. And then baseball, I was back to normal again, not bucking as much. And yeah, we lost. And it's like, man, this really sucks. I did a lot of work, and I was really selfish at the time, thinking it was all me. And we just like fell short in so many ways. And so I was like, yeah, thanks God. Like, you were my king for so long. I leaned on to walk, to learn how to run. Now that I'm running, I have my legs back. I have my foundation for my life back, my athletic ability. Deuces, Keen. Like, see you later, God. Like, college, here I come. Like, time to knock down the door at college and write my own story. Like, I'm sick of this, and I'm sick of losing. I'm sick of being not being the guy, whatever. All these selfish things. So coming into college, Northwestern blessed me with the opportunity to go and play when so many other places were not willing to take a chance on me. And I was blessed with a really great first year there. Was able to make a full comeback from my injuries. And when I came into fall camp, I felt so good. Like, and in every way, I was like, this is probably the best I've ever felt and looked. And so amazingly, I was 100% back to normal and able to start my very first game at Northwestern, which just speaks to how amazing the human body is and the person who created the human body to feel it though. And that was cool too, because as I got to Northwestern and started working out, there were still complications with the knee. And there was still things that I had to learn how to play with that knee. That bad, but not a good one. Not as good as it was. So I always had to be really careful in how I was moving, how I was working out and all those things. And that's when kind of Colin, who, had been back and forth because he had gone to college after our sophomore year. And we started meeting back up, working out together. In my freshman year, we'd be working out. You know, we're working out on Sundays because we only worked out twice a week. We did that a couple of different times. And so we started getting back in our bag. And that's when we, started working and talking again more and more. And then anytime we'd be on breaks, we'd be working out together. And then, I guess just flying through college, freshman and sophomore year, living for myself in the world, making bad decisions, but, playing pretty decent, but nothing crazy. And then my junior year really took a step up in my play. Second year, playing safety. I moved from corner to safety for my freshman sophomore year. Second year, really started to find my groove and felt like they were putting me in a position to be successful. And we had a really good year. We made a championship run. And I was like, oh, baby, like, here we go. A comeback story time. Like, best season of my life, probably. Statistically speaking, most honors I'd ever received. And other coaches had been coming up and telling me how well I've been playing. And I'm coming up on this game like, oh, this is my redemption story. This is it. Like, this is it. And the Lord started to come back in my life throughout that junior year. I really started to kind of come back to the Lord, kind of like that lost son coming back to his father. That's really how I imagined it. I'd gotten all my blessings, I ran off, I'd wasted them all, and now I'm putting back to him. And I was like, oh, I'm ready to win for the right reasons. And I think 3 or 4 plays in, busted play, never sprained an ankle in my life, going for a tackle, awkward tackle, and pop, high ankle sprain, just totally got my leg taken out from under me again. And I remember just going to the sideline. I'm not upset yet because I'm like, I think I can put it through this. I can still make my story happen. And the guy who lost his senior year comes back in college, wins a national title, and it didn't happen. It was literally like it was so frustrating because it didn't even hurt that bad. I just couldn't run.
Yeah.
And then, we lost. We got blown out. And I was so frustrated with God after that. And I was just like, why are you putting me through hell again? I already been through hell. Like, I already had to learn how to walk. I already had long hours of therapy, long hours in the weight room, early mornings, late night. Like, I did all that my senior year. Why are you taking this from me? it just goes to show how like me focused I really was. And then the next year kind of was a blur. And I think you said that the last year, Jaden, and you can speak on this too. It's just like I wasn't sure if I was going to come back for my fifth season, and I did. I was blessed with the opportunity to not worry about anything else and just dive into my football boy my last year. And that is when like everything changed for me. I mean, my faith had been real, but it hadn't taken flight. It hadn't applied in any of my action. I couldn't see it in play. I was still an angry player. In that fifth year, I had finally like let go of what everyone thought of Noah and just tried to play for the Lord. And it was just a huge blessing. And it started with a small group of dudes. And like Jaden, I remember this like, because I remember when rubber met the road, because I had really started to get like my faith figured out. First game coming off of, two-time All-American coming into the last season of my career. And I give up 2 touchdowns, but below 2 coverages in his first game against the best team in the country that we can beat this team. And I remember being like just distraught, like, who am I? Am I this good player? And I just remember just this conviction on the sideline, like, are you playing for my glory or are you playing for your glory? Because right now you're not getting glorified and you're mad about it. And that's like, oh, heck yeah, like, you're right. And it's like, all right, I guess whatever happened. But I still remember like Jaden, you coming up to me and just saying like, no one else I'd rather have. No one else I'd rather have out there. Like, I don't want to go out to the field with anyone else. And we were literally like, in the meantime, from my junior year to senior to fifth year, you had gone from like, oh, like I'm only going to punt to like we were one unit back there. I'm a right hand and you're the left hand or vice versa. So it's just like literally becoming one person, one organism, as you say, on the defense out there. And that pretty much catapulted me to a point where my faith started to impact the way I did. And that fifth year was just so beautiful. We started a small group, and this is something so raw, but like, and Jane, you can talk on this, but like, it's hard. It was hard to love, it was hard to love you because of how much we had competed our whole lives. I don't know if you can see that, but every single time we took the field, we took the court, we took the diamond, it was like we were just like pitted against each other, but you guys have to go against each other. You know what I mean? And so then you start to get this mind, like, if he's doing good, I'm not doing as well. And if I'm doing, and vice versa. So it was like, in like that last year, dude, it just washed away, and there was just pure love. I don't know if you had that kind of same battle in, like, I know I had to fight that while my year.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, as you said, like we were always competing. We were always, I would say, like the alpha dogs, just going mano a mano. And you were always probably the more defensive side, like you in soccer, best defender on the field. In basketball, you guarded the best player. Like everything we did, you were like a ball hawk. You dogged everybody. So yeah, in every basketball drill, we were partners. We were expected to go against each other. Iron sharpens iron, as one would say. Yeah, I feel like it was always healthy. I didn't think we ever like necessarily despised each other or anything. I think we always wanted to be better, but obviously we wanted to be the best.
Yeah.
So I think that type of competition brought us up, brought us to where we wanted to be. And I think as we got to that fifth year, we truly understood that we weren't really playing for ourselves anymore. I think we got to the point where we matured to the point where, like, another accomplishment, another statistic, who cares? Let's do something special as a team. Like, let's do something special as a group. You brought me in the safety group. I learned so much from you. Coming from somewhere else and just getting thrown in, and I felt so welcomed. And yeah, like I said, there was nobody that I would have rather played with back there, in the good, in the bad, in the ugly. It didn't matter, because I know that you put in the work, you've been through it, we've been through it together, and I just felt it was really special. And that bond, I feel like, is still there today. I feel like we are always there for each other and still compete, but we want what's best for each other, and I think that's gotten to the point where we matured beyond trying to be the best and being the best for each other. I think we've grown.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, yeah, I agree. It was always healthy, but it's just like, I think there's so many kids out there today who struggle with that same type of thing, right? Like, it's hard to celebrate the success of your team because there's like this, you're trying to gain the identity of the best dude on the field, the best player on the court, whatever it might be. And anytime that someone else is having more success than you on that court or field or whatever, like, I don't know, like, dang, like, hey, good job, man. But there's a little bit of thing inside you. Hey, I didn't get that. He got that. I didn't do it. Come on. Like, I want that. It's like, I was a dude who was getting mad. I wasn't getting more interceptions. Like, you know how insane that is? Like, I can't control who the ball is thrown to. You know what I mean? Like, you can cover. It's like baseball. Like, you can do everything right in the batter's box, hit the ball, and you're out. Like, you can cover a dude perfectly the entire game and not get interception. We're like, you know what I mean? And that was just some of the things that, like, I could tell that I was fighting this ego, this fear of men, honestly, like what other people were thinking of me. And like, yeah, like when we started getting into the word as a team, as a defense, really, it was kind of like the dudes on the defense. All of a sudden you could see all this like selfishness wash away. And it was like watching one person out there, and multiple dudes, multiple coaches, offensive coordinators commented on like that fifth year, like, wow, like that defense, unreal. Like, you guys are just one person in the extension. Like, I remember playing Indiana Wesleyan in the semifinals, and there's this dude who's like, they don't know keep up with Florida's speed, whatever. And like later on, like on an update, it was like, it looks like Northwestern's got 15 dudes on defense, and that was just because of like somehow much like close of a bond it was. Like, people underestimate the value of that in football so much, is the camaraderie of the team, the excitement of other people doing it, and there was just like sheer joy. Like, there was no holdback with someone else's success. It was like the boys were getting off the bench, like the fellas were excited to just have a good time, and goes all the way down. And in that fifth year was kind of a kickback year, which I always was afraid of, that I wouldn't have the same statistical year as I'd always had. And by the grace of God working in my life, and that I just didn't care about that anymore, I was able to get kind of that spot. It actually led to me, I was hoping to get like a third year of highly honored year, and I got less honors than ever. But it actually opened the door for some other dudes to get some honors. I know that, like, you were an All-American that year. You should have been the year before. You were totally snubbed. But like, it was so cool because like we were both just like so excited, and it didn't even matter. And that was just kind of the narrative of the team that year. But then, kind of coming down to the end, like I spoke on earlier, I was like so wanted redemption, but had always wanted me to get the glory. I had really been challenged that year by a devotional to not write the narrative and ask God to sign it, but to sign off on the bottom of our story in a blank page, and him to write my story. And so I constantly try to tell myself, like, let God write the story, let God write the story. And I'd take the field, I'd pray, like God, whatever happens, good or bad, like, you get the glory today. The worst game of my life, all the glory to you. And I have the best game of my life, all the glory to you. And I just felt this freedom. And I think the whole team was also kind of on the same journey. And we're all achieving this freedom. And also we come in national championship game. And that same prayer is said. And like, I just get to have my moment at the national championship game. Like, I get that redemption moment came. And I still remember my last play was an interception to like seal the game. Like, it's over. We still had to take the field, get a first down, and kneel it out. But I remember like getting that interception, getting up onto my knees, and thinking to myself, not thinking, I shouldn't say that, I didn't think. I really sat there and like, all of a sudden it was just like spoken to me. Like, this is why you had to do what you did. Like, this is why you had to go through what you had to do. And this is why you weren't ready before. And there's no reason I didn't deserve that. Like, God, just because God did that doesn't, or if he didn't do that, doesn't make him any less good. But it was just so unreal in that moment. I mean, I had like just tears like rolling down my face because I just knew the goodness of God in that moment and how much he wanted to redeem me. And there's like a verse in the Bible that says like, he will repay the years the locusts have eaten. And we were in a press conference leading up to the national championship game, and Jaden said like, dude, this is our year to get to have our free year that we missed. Like, we didn't get to play together that last year when I was hurt. I mean, a little bit towards the end, but that was partly me, you know, that's some shell of myself, just thrown out there. And yeah, it's just like a total redemption moment. And I just want more special than the win or anything else is just how beautiful it was to just have a team that was so unselfish, and the freedom, like coming from a kid who always played with like a bunch of anxiety and stress and anger, the freedom of playing with joy and like just love. I know that sounds so crazy, you know, like I'm trying to take dude's head off. Like, I love you, man, you know, but it was just such a special season. And now it just makes so much sense that, you know, I'm at OCA because it took me 11 years to figure out what it meant to play with the joy of the Lord, to play for the Lord and let go of the outcome. And I just want everyone else to like not take that long to figure it out. That there is an opportunity, there's an open door, there's freedom in your play that like you don't need to worry. Like, we can control like this much. Like, we have such little that we can control. Your attitude and your effort. That's pretty much it. And then everything else is adding, you know, that if we really can wrap our minds around that with the help of the Lord, it's like, wow. Like, there's so much freedom in that. And I love that. And I'm excited for that. And I hope everybody gets that, because that's just how athletics are meant to be played.
Yeah.
That's kind of all
That's awesome, though.
Is there any questions or like anything that like came up as I was speaking that, you know, I missed on, or anything that wasn't super clear? Alan, I'm sorry I didn't really have a lot of you to throw you in there. I mean,
No,
you were always,
that was all I wanted, was just to hear the story, because it's an incredible one. And obviously I was around for parts of that, but it's cool to just hear it all in sequence. And for people who haven't heard that story, it's, I mean, similar to Peyton, it molded you, obviously the injury, and then also just the faith struggle, the identity struggle. You know, like you said, there was times of frustration, but the story is always still being written. And even though you reach that conclusion, that athletic conclusion, like, I mean, you're still so young, like there's still so much you're doing, and that's just influence for the story for the rest of your life. So I guess leading into the FCA thing, I mean, I don't know what your career ambitions were for college, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere, I hear you are an FCA director, and just basically out of left field. So if you just want to hit on what kind of led to that and how you're in the role you're in now.
yeah. But before I get into that, I'm gonna answer that, Colin. And I just want to just like speak this for everybody out there that, you know, me and Jane were walking together at sports all the time. And Colin and I were as well. And we didn't highlight that as much, but there were many years that everybody knew how I was living, and I wasn't living my best life. I was out, drinking way too much. I was being stupid, making bad decisions, not being intelligent with women, not having a healthy relationship, all these things. You name it, I probably did it. And like through that all, like, Colin, you were always that dude who loved me, who took me in. You didn't ever like, you showed me the love of a brother, no matter what I was doing. Like, you knew what I was doing. Like, you knew I was like being dumb, making selfish decisions, and we continue to just model what it meant to just be a disciplined Christian man and to get the most out of what he had. And though there was never ever like aha moment, like that always spoke so much volumes. And that's like the reason that, I broke down crying on your shoulder, and that like throughout college, like just your presence always brought me back to the Lord. Always that love that you shared, that love like a brother, always brought me back to the Lord and to improve myself and to commit my life. And you never like pushed it on me, because everyone's different. Some people they need it told to them, but I'm a guy, like, you tell me to do something, I don't want to do it. I'm kind of rebellious that way. And Colin, you just like lived it out so well, and that's exactly what I needed. And that was really like my spiritual mentor. You really filled that like spiritual mentor in my life throughout college, when I don't know if I really had it at that time in my life. And so, yeah, I just want to say thank you for that. And it was like you're weaved throughout that story just as much as Jaden, even though, you weren't in dialogue as much, kind of hitting highlight. But yeah. And so going back to the question, how did I go from, I'm a financial advisor. I got 4 of my 5, I should say registered representative, if we're going to get the facts straight. 4 of my 5 exams done. Like, I'm like, heck yeah, like I'm gonna make so much money. I'm gonna do this. And I was driving down the road one day, and I was listening to a pastor, and he was speaking, and I mean, he was speaking, And I'm driving down, I'm going to Sioux City to work my job at my financial firm, and it just hits me like a ton of bricks. Like, go, like, like speak to people about me. All right, yeah, I'll do that on the side. Like, I'm willing to do that, not like commit my life to it. And I was terrified. And all of a sudden, people started speaking to me, like, they talk. Have you ever thought about being a pastor or going to ministry? And I was like, oh yeah, no, never even thought about that. You know what I mean? Like, totally just trying to deny and deny and deny. And though I was more, I don't know if I was denying the Lord or trying to deny what he was telling me, because I didn't want to hear it. I was like being like, oh, I'm not sure. I didn't have any freedom in my life for that. I was so like, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. And God created that freedom for me. And I was in a relationship at the time. I thought I had my life figured out. All of a sudden, boom, relationship's gone. All of a sudden, everything else is in question now. Like, what do I want to do with my life? And it took me still another few months, but God was just like hammering me and hammering me and hammering me. Like, Noah, like, step out of the boat. Like, I'm here. Like, you gotta step out of the boat, walk on water, step out of the boat. Like, trust me. Every time I pray about it, God would give me something. And finally, one day, it got so bad. I had so much conviction. We were driving home after work, going to football practice, while I was taking like one class, pretty much just working and playing football. And I said, God, what do I need to do? And I had this vision of me telling my coworkers, like, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to go into ministry. I just bawled. I bawled. Because I knew it was true, but that was like the moment where it was like, I can't do it anymore. Like, I need to quit what I'm doing. I can't give a part of my life. I have to give my entire life to what the Lord has for me. Like, not writing my story and asking God to sign it, really giving him that blank piece of paper. And it just happened to be that night we were doing our Bible study, and for whatever reason, it didn't work for everybody to show up. And the only people who were able to show up, shout out Tanner, shout out Corbin, dogs. And I told them what I was struggling with, and they just totally inspired me, encouraged me, like, dude, you would be great at that. Like, you should go. And I had no idea what that meant. That was the hardest part. Is like, there's not a boat to step to. Like, Jesus, you're calling me out on the water. Like, why is there not another boat parked right next to me that I could safely get into? And the sequence of events happened where I told my coworkers I'd no longer be working with them. And the door opened up for FCA. I've loved it. It's not where I thought I would be, but it's been a huge huge blessing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And like, don't believe the lies that like I told myself that like following the Lord wasn't going to be exciting, following the Lord would be fun, following the Lord wouldn't give you what you wanted. Nothing. It gets so much more. It's so much better. There's so much. It's just so much richer and more fulfilling than any dollar sign or anything like that I could have ever wanted. Any identity, and like God has just been really working on me, and He's continuing to do so. But I'm so excited to see what's next. Just feel like, you know, as I've walked with Him, I've just gotten better. Still need to work on it. Just being able to hand in that piece of paper every single day. Like, what do you got for me today? Or what do you got for me today? And I just love where it's taken me. And it's just been beautiful.
Yeah, man. That makes me, what you said makes me think of my grandpa Roy. Not a wealthy man when he was alive, but a very faithful man. And I just remember my dad saying when he passed, like, he didn't leave an inheritance of a bunch of money, but he left an eternal inheritance with just the legacy he left of, you know, the way he raised his kids and generations below him. And that's cool. That's something you get to do in your role is, I mean, hopefully impact kids and athletes, and who knows what kind of cascading effect that will lead to. And so that's just a super cool role to be in.
Yeah. Total blessing too. And like, just to kind of give more of a snapshot too, I'm like currently where I'm at as far as like injury goes. I just think this is so fun that I was told so many things when I got hurt that this wouldn't happen, this wouldn't happen, this wouldn't happen, this wouldn't happen, this wouldn't, all these things. And through allowing God to just work through me, heal me, I feel like everything that I've ever been told, I've been able to overcome with the help of God. That's not me. I don't know why that I've been so blessed. I don't deserve it. I'm unworthy. I'm a bad person. But for whatever reason, the Lord has just blessed me. And like, they were like, yeah, knee replacement by the age of 30. Oh, no doubt. And, you know, almost 25. And like, never thought I'd be able to run. Told me like, you're not going to be able to do long distance running, you know, and I was able to run 6 miles today. 0 knee pain. And like training for a triathlon, like one of the most ultimate endurance tests that you can do on a knee that was like never meant to do that, you know. And it's just like, man, God is so good. He restores. And like honestly, sometimes it feels better than the other knee, but I always know it's there. I mean, it's like so many people have asked me, like, would you go back and change it? Like, if you could do it all over again. And though it would be almost impossible knowing how much pain there was, like right in the moment, to actually do the physical action again, I know that if I could push a button and have it come to me out again and know where it brought me and what the Lord has done in my life, that I would do it a million times over. I do it as many times as I need to do, because everything that I have missed out on, I feel like the Lord has restored. That really, a lot of stuff that didn't matter was washed away, and my eyes were open in that way. But yeah, if I had to do it all over again, you know, go through all that pain, that suffering, missed opportunities, I would for a heartbeat.
What's it like having the perspective of almost like having movement stripped from you for life to now, like, do you ever take that for granted? Like, what do you just, I don't know. What's that perspective like? Because Peyton kind of hit on that last week too, like having pain for multiple years. Like, what's movement like for you with that perspective?
Yeah, it just like, it feels really good. Like, I remember being in a wheelchair for a month and a half. Like July 4th, August 19th was my first time taking steps. September 19th, I think, was the first time that I was able to do like some jogging or something like that. I remember the feeling of wind going through my hair as I ran. Something so small. Just like the feeling of like, you don't get that when you don't run, or, you know, like just stuff like that. Like, Yeah, I remember how much joy I've had every single time I stepped on a football field and I got to practice because I was like, dude, this is so beautiful. And
Yeah.
like, also like something really small, but I don't know why it keeps coming to me that like I had to be that dude who had to park in the handicap spot and I really needed it because it was really hard work getting around. And that like when I see somebody park in a handicap spot that like isn't dealing with some physical handicap, it's like, dude, like you had to be like them, or you had to park as far away as you ever could in every single parking lot you ever got into. You would do it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
just take it. You do it. Just brings so much perspective to like, dude, like walking around. That's pretty cool. You know, jumping, playing sports, and like getting to ski and all those things. And obviously, I had to really smart how far I push myself. I really have to listen to my body, and that's why I continue to listen to. I do what you guys do because I feel like that's something you guys always really pushed. No matter where we've been, whether me and Jaden having a conversation on the field about how to plant and drive out of a transition, or whether it's in the weight room with Colin, like how to load a foot. You guys have always just been like, listen to your body, listen to your body, listen to your body. And it has helped me so much where I feel like I get to push the edge of what I thought was possible, but I know that I'm still listening to my body. And if it was ever something where I thought I was taking years off of my knee, where I was bringing up when that knee replacement would be, that I would be able to stop because I want to be able to move the rest of my life. But there's something to be said to like actually getting out and moving. I think extend the life of a joint much more than just sitting around and doing those things. Like a strong knee joint is so much better. It does not hurt near as much. Like lifting and running and biking. Like if I didn't do those things, my knee would hurt all the time, every day. But the fact that you try to get up, be active every single day, whether it's going for a run, lifting, or playing a sport, like that's what like, oh man, my knee feels really good. So it's just kind of crazy. Yeah, it does give a lot of perspective, and I'm super excited to see how far I can kind of take it without going, throwing myself into surgeries and things like that.
Yeah, man. Well, we could probably be here for another couple hours if we wanted to, chatting it out. But I guess we'll wrap it up with who outside of this podcast, who's someone you want to give flowers to, who's been through, whether it be through the struggles or just growing up, who comes to mind?
The hardest part of this question is picking who, because there's so many great people in my life. Like I would not be where I am today in any aspect of my life if it wasn't for an absolute army of people just supporting me. I'm gonna give her a shout out to my mom.
Lisa,
It's a great one.
She's
My second
she's
mom.
really excited that I'm on it. I think she really loves what you guys are getting after. So this will be a little surprise for her at the end. But man, I wouldn't be able to be here today where I'm at if my mom didn't lovingly guide me, didn't correct me, and take care of me. I mean, I had probably like 10 surgeries from sports-related injuries and stuff like that, and my mom's taking care of me through them all. Been that shoulder to cry on when I was like asking those hard questions, like why is this happening to me? And just that absolutely just loving, caring presence. And she's just a solid rock for our family right now. I can even hear her taking care of the grandkids. Yeah, I'll give her the shout out. Shout out, Mama Lisa. Appreciate you, Mom.
2 for 2 on moms so far. Moms are the
We
GOAT.
love moms.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, brother, appreciate you hopping on and just sharing your testimony. Cool story, and just grateful for our friendship. I'm sure Jaden can say the same, and excited to see how God continues to use you at FCA and beyond. So appreciate you, brother.
appreciate you,
Thanks for
Noah.
having me on, fellas. Appreciate it. Love what you're doing.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. Till next time.
Bye.
Deuces. Thanks for listening to the show. If you enjoyed today's episode, leave a rating, review, or tell a friend to check us out. Be sure to follow us at SHRP_training for more content to help you be your best self. Go be great today.